got the 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah, I'm rocking it. So, elephant in the room. I got a halo facial on Thursday, so it's healing beautifully. I look fantastic. But wait till you see me on Friday. They'll be carding me at the bar. You know what I mean?
Right
be
now,
22 again.
he's sweeping the chimneys right now.
Yeah. But it's supposed to look like this. Everything's healing the way it should.
I can see it come off.
But you know what it is? I never have like a beard, so I kind of look like Miami Vice with a sunburn.
People like it.
People like it? All right.
I'm not.
Stick around.
Let's slow down. It's working for you, Jeff. It is. All right, let's begin because today is a historic day. Today marks the beginning of the first ever criminal trial of a former U.S. president. Donald Trump arrived this morning at a lower Manhattan courtroom looking a little downcast, if you see. He's been charged, of course, with 34 felonies, accusing him of falsifying documents in order to cover up a sex scandal with porn star Stormy Daniels. Here's what Trump had to say just before the trial began.
This is an assault on America. Nothing like this has ever happened before. There's never been anything like it.
Now, Trump has maintained his innocence. Jury selection begins today, and a lot of people are wondering if they can find impartial jurors. DBL Nation always want to hear from you. In your opinion, do you believe, can Trump get a fair trial in New York City? Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. Can they find impartial jurors, Jeff?
I think it's going to be really difficult because Trump is... When you talk about Trump, people get really heated on both sides, whether you're for him or against him. And not to compare it to the OJ trial, but we saw that. No matter what happened with OJ, people were like, I am releasing OJ no matter what testimony I get. I think there's going to be people like that with Trump saying, I want to put him in jail at all costs. And if you're really a supporter of Trump, you're very adamant about keeping him out of jail. So it's going to be very hard to find anyone who doesn't know who Donald Trump is in the United States and get a fair trial. And just on top of that, don't we kind of all agree that he did this? It's like, what is the defense?
It's a
what is the
solid
defense?
Case.
They have a good amount of evidence.
It's a solid case. And I think that's why that's the first time watching him kind of walk towards the camera, he looked a little downtrodden. I've never seen him. He usually uses that as a place to kind of perform and show that he's strong, and he gives a fist up to his supporters. You know, he has lawyers. They know that this is a good case, and that's why they tried as hard as they could to delay it. So we shall see, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Let me give you guys some facts if we can. People want to know, can Trump go to prison? Yes, he's up to 4 years on this case. Can he pardon himself? No, you can't pardon yourself on a state crime, just a federal crime again.
If he were to be elected again.
If he were to be elected again, this is New York, so again, he cannot pardon himself. This is the questions they'll be asking the jurors.
Are you done asking questions to yourself?
Are you done speaking in your light blue 80s suit? Okay. This is what they'll be asking. You look great. They'll be asked if they can be impartial, if they follow Trump on social media, their feelings on how he's being treated. Okay, if they have any political or other beliefs that would affect their ability to follow the court's instructions. Also, did they volunteer maybe for the Trump campaign? And what I would like to know, do you think the 2020 election was overturned illegally? So those are questions that they'll be asking. Will the trial be televised? No, I think that's a mistake.
Why do you think it's a mistake?
Because this has never happened before. An ex-president on trial for criminal charges is something I think, especially in an election year, we ought to be able to see as voters.
But do you think that there's a danger aspect to it if you showed, not the jury obviously, but even a bailiff, a court reporter, anybody there could be threatened to try and manipulate that person in the courtroom? I think
that's a threat with Trump no matter what. Even with gag orders, he goes off on Trump, on his judges' daughters and things, and says awful things. What you're doing by keeping this hush-hush is not letting us see for ourselves the extent of his criminality. And by not doing that, you throw it under the rug.
And I think it's more than just throwing it under the rug, Erica. I'm concerned with the disinformation. If we have no transparency, what headlines and narratives are going to go out there, and that's going to form people's opinions instead of the actual context of what happened that day in court.
I agree with you in theory, but I think that discernment isn't necessarily something that everyone has, and I do feel, and that's not even to be shady about it, I think that people can see the same thing and feel like two very different things are happening. In this case, I do agree that transparency is important, but how many people are going to watch it with the ability to say, this is what I'm seeing, and this is either fair or it's biased, or why it's biased. Like, there's always going to be another story that's playing out because people want to just confirm what they already believed before the trial ever started.
But by covering it up, I agree, I have to say, but covering up, you're making it more likely that will happen.
Right. I think it's going to happen regardless.
It will happen regardless.
Because who's going to sit there and watch it every day?
A lot of
everybody. I don't know if we're covering it up, Sammy. It's just like I think this is big. This is 5 times bigger than the Super Bowl. I mean, there will be narratives coming out of this story. I don't think this is some kind of a parking ticket violation where this might not make the court docket. This was world headline news.
It's 6 to 8 weeks, and he has to be there every single day, required.
Which takes him out of, doing his speeches and whatnot, garnering support for his presidential campaign. Do you think this will hurt his presidential campaign?
Or galvanize
if he gets off on all the charges, it's kind of like, I always refer to like to John Gotti. I'm just grabbing examples throughout history.
That's a good example.
But he's a Teflon Don, and he gained notoriety as he kept beating all these cases. So if Trump beats this case that it seems like he's dead to rights on, I mean, we all kind of agree, like, did he mess around with Stormy Daniels?
He sure did.
I think he did.
Yeah, right,
I think he did. You know what I mean? I think everyone could agree on that.
Yeah.
But can his lawyers get him off on some sort of technicality? I don't think it's about whether he messed around with Stormy Daniels. Did that money come from campaign?
But however, but he also will end up in jail. That's a big deal that we're forgetting.
And he said he was going to testify too, which is
his ego
he said
makes
he
it.
would. He didn't say he was going to.
Let's see.
And I think that's a big difference. Erica?
I was just going to say, to the Gotti example, jury tampering. Like, I mean, the
That's
idea.
the cameras.
Right. So it's.
You don't show the jury. In OJ, you never saw the jury. They could hide the jury.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, just the idea that someone could be gotten to in that way, just the Gotti example.
For sure.
Right.
Do you, sorry, go ahead.
No.
Oh, do you really think he's going to end up in jail? I just want to end it on that.
Look, if this,
Even if he's found guilty.
There's no way.
Yeah, I agree with
House
Al.
arrest.
I don't think
no
so.
way.
They're not going to parade. They're not going to do a duck walk of a frog march of our president to jail.
Did you ever think this president would be up for now 88 charges, though? At some point, things that we don't believe we are going to see, you're going to see with Donald Trump.
There is like a weird thing, like did Charles Manson only had like 10 cases against him or so. I don't know the number, but just the amount of cases against
it's
Donald
just
Trump
endless.
is
It's
astronomical.
endless.
Let's take a look and see what our viewers believe. Can Donald Trump get a fair trial? 57% of you believe he can. 43% of you say no.